Mr. Alquist, come on up.
Thank you.
Would you state your name and the organization you're from,
Sure.
please?
Steve Alquist. I'm with Uprise, Rhode Island. I have like two concerns that came to me during the testimony. One is communities of interest feels like a very nebulous concept, a black box into which a lot of things could be dumped that would provide justification for things that we might not want to do or that the community, the public might not like, right? It seems like there's a way to use that to establish, like when somebody mentioned school districts, we know that school districts historically have protected themselves from minorities by drawing themselves in ways to keep certain people out, certain people in. And I'm wondering if the same thing could happen with communities of interest. So I'd like to know exactly what we're talking about and really come up with a strong definition of that before we move forward by saying, oh, this is just a community of interest, this is great, or not. That's a little worrying to me. The other thing is, this website, as nice as it seems, is being done by a private group. It's a private website. It's not public, and so we don't have we might not have, I don't know, does APRA apply? Do we have the means to really interrogate this website to make sure it's doing public service? I mean, the state website, there's a process I could go through if I thought, hey, this is kind of shading things certain ways, or it's doing something in its own favor or different favors. I don't know for sure that I can interrogate this website in the same way, so I just wanted to bring that up as well because the privatized nature of it is a little worrying from the point of view of openness and transparency. And those are my only two concerns. I just wanted to bring them up because they occurred to me as we were testifying.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Alquist. I think with respect to APRA, it applies to everything that happens in this committee, and that goes to any communications with respect to emails, text. Everybody needs to understand that. Everything is discoverable through APRA, as it should be, and I would see the domain of the website as being no different. Even though it may be owned by a private entity, it's certainly used in the scope of this process, and then for true transparency, if it weren't subject to APRA, APRA really would have no roots, and I think Mr. Marion and Mr. Brown would be beside themselves with that. So I appreciate your concerns. I would say to assuage any anxiety about this whole special districts of interest, it was a new concept to me. This is new for me on the committee, and I asked questions to try to flesh that out. It seems like something that actually may have, I'm hoping, the opposite effect of anything that's discriminatory, that it would bring about complete transparency and reflect groups that may otherwise fall by the wayside. So appreciate your concerns. Appreciate your
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to testify? Rep. Ucci.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just respond to what Mr. Alquist said. And Steve, I thought the same thing when I heard about communities of interest, because as I recall, and I may be wrong because it's been 10 years and I'll look forward to the next time when we get more into race, but when you look at our responsibility here, it's clear that we have to protect and build as many majority-minority communities districts as we can. And one concern I have, and I'm sure all of you do, and I just want it to be said, is that I don't want to confuse that with other definitions and other things. And once you get to beyond that, where you have established that, and that's our priority, the next thing certainly would be commonality amongst folks. And 10 years ago, we didn't call it communities of interest, but there are things that people generally bring people together. If people live in a lake, if they live in a river, if they live in a certain, that's the thing. But that has to be secondary to our legal obligation that's come down in court decisions. So I'd like to hear a little more about that maybe when Mr. Brace speaks the next time we talk about race, to make sure that I'm still on track with that. But that's how I come in. But I share your concern about creating something new, and it sounds nice, and we don't do our responsibility. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rev. Very, very insightful. And I think maybe the comfort factor may be that we've all jumped on this particular issue asking questions. So I'm looking forward to that next time.